Hello, welcome back to the podcast. This might sound a little bit lispy. I've got my retainers in. The endless journey of the retainers. I'm kind of finishing my Invisalign, so I'm going to wear retainers every night forever, but I'm kind of dropping down my retainer wear in the day, but you've caught me at a time with my retainers in, so I'm going to do my best to speak in a way that's not aggravating, because my accent is already pretty aggravating for most people. So apologies, but no elocution lessons over here. But yeah, so my name is Cassie. If you're new to the podcast and you're listening for the first time, all of my podcasts are usually recorded just walking out in nature, because I'm a multitasking mama and I need to try and do more in less time. So I kind of record my podcasts when I'm, every 2 weeks, when I'm kind of in ovulation, or actually when I'm in my menstrual phase. That tends to be when I feel best speaking, but that might change, whatever. But anyway, I like to walk in nature as I record, so you kind of get the sound of a distant breeze, maybe some birds, maybe the crunching of the snow under my feet, and hopefully that's snow under my feet and not dog poos, because people do not clean up their dog poo down this railway and it's very frustrating. So the walk I'm on is like a walk in Staffordshire. It's like a old disused railway, and you can just walk for miles and miles and miles. It's fab, but I only kind of walk one end of it through the winter, because it gets really muddy down the other end and almost like impassable, to be honest, unless you're wearing like massive big wellies, and yeah, so that's a whole thing. Bonnie's at nursery, who is my 19-month-old daughter. She has been a bit of a handful the past week, to say the least. Anyway, so today I wanted to talk about, more the emotional and maybe not so much mental side of the fertility journey, especially if it's kind of you're framing it as an infertility journey, which is a whole thing we will talk about. And I want to talk to you just in a way that's like, these are pieces that I have learnt through not just getting my period back and getting fertile and overcoming anorexia and PTSD and whatever other labels we want to stick on it. And you can really take or leave as much as this as you want. I am not an expert. You are unique, and there's no one kind of thing or person that's going to give you the magic answer to your individual set of circumstances. But nonetheless, it's nice to fill ourselves with a supportive content, especially, if you are someone who really feels that, they're really struggling. You could always save this and listen to it, as you go through your fertility journey, because one of my patients said to me over the weekend, I just was checking in with her and how things were going, and homeopathy and homeopathic treatment is very up and down. It tends to peel away layers, and sometimes you can feel a bit worse before you feel better, because it's trying to uncover things, because it's revealing your authenticity. And the only way really to be authentic and in your best health and kind of get sometimes to the place that's really truly who you are and your potential, which is what homeopathy does alongside healing physical ailments, is to kind of dig up the clutter that's in the way so it can be cleared out. And sometimes that can be a tough process, I think, for some, depending on what's in the way. Or sometimes it's not tough, it just brings up stuff, and you have a few days where you go through something. And this happened to me many times, where and patients where they take a remedy and then all of a sudden they spend like a week grieving, because they never grieve that thing, and that grief is blocking their energy from expressing itself freely. It's blocking their hormonal health. It's blocking their fertility. So that's why people tend to go through these emotional things in fertility treatment, especially with homeopathy, because it's very comprehensive. It's not just supplements, So anyway, she was saying how lonely the fertility journey can be, and I thought, I feel like I should, just put something out there that is like a fertility best friend in your ears. So yeah, half of me was recording that almost just for her, because she's so sweet, and I, I really do love all my clients. But yeah. But before I kind of dive into it, if you do want to fall pregnant in 2023 and you've kind of exhausted all your options, you're in and out of IVF, you've been told you've got unexplained fertility, or you just don't get any answers, you're feeling frustrated, maybe you're working with a nutritional therapist, maybe you're doing detox protocols, maybe you're taking all the supplements, maybe you're doing the Clomid, doing all the things, but you are still not really feeling that things are shifting, or you're having recurrent miscarriages, so there is the ability to conceive but there's miscarriages, and maybe you're not having regular periods, maybe your cycle is like 50 days, you might have endo or PCOS or other hormonal conditions that you feel are blocking you from naturally falling pregnant, then I think my Fertility Best Friend program is going to be for you. Because if you want to fall pregnant naturally, you're kind of disillusioned with a lot of the medical treatment you've got, or you want something that's going to go alongside medical treatment that's going to help your body to heal naturally and come into a place of hormonal balance naturally so that you are naturally fertile, then this program and the high bulk of this program, which is homeopathic treatment, will be the game changer, I think, for you. And usually with homeopathy, you feel called to it. It's like, I feel like I need to do this, I don't know why. And usually you come to it when you've kind of like exhausted every other option, usually. So that's the thing when it comes to Fertility Best Friend. The big bulk of it is homeopathic treatment. But what makes my program different and so effective and potent is, yes, you and your partner receive homeopathic treatment and homeopathic detox therapy protocols. And remember that homeopathic treatment is completely individual to you. So it's not one size fits all at all. It's very personal. So you receive ongoing homeopathic treatment. You also get guidance on nourishing your body correctly for fertility, which is probably not what you think. It's tried and tested and proved. I have pregnant clients right now. And education on movement for fertility, mindset for fertility, energetics of fertility, breath work for fertility. So it's a holistic approach. It's not just, this is the protocol and this is what you should eat and these are some supplements and buy. It's like, where are you now and how can we work with you one-to-one on all levels, using all of my skills from many, many years of training in lots of different disciplines to actually help you fall pregnant naturally. And this is my absolute baby, and what I love the most about it is you get this high level support container. So I'm literally your fertility best friend. So when you are feeling lonely and you are feeling down and out and you feel like you are not sure how you're going to get through another pregnancy announcement, or how you're going to deal with your cousin falling pregnant and all of that stuff, or then you're falling pregnant and you're finding, you're paranoid about miscarriage and all of the things that will go through your head probably, as they did mine, I am here to be basically your fertility BF. So like a bit of an invisible third wheel. You know how it is. And sometimes I think we need that person. And that's the person I love to be. So it's a real joy. So anyway, that's my Fertility Best Friend program. And there are only a few spots. Like, I don't open it up because I like to offer a high level of support. I don't open it up to lots and lots of random people. For me, it's very much about are you a good fit, or am I going to be the right support for you? And that's how it is. So I have 3 spots available for January, and you can get those, so they can be yours as long as you kind of reach out to me soon, because I'm not I have a fairly small amount of space in my schedule to dedicate to those couples that want to fall pregnant naturally using all the holistic tools. And honestly, I think what I've created is life-changing personally. Because I honestly wish I'd have had this when I was trying to restore my fertility. I really wish I'd have had this. I would have not wasted so much time. I wasted a lot of time Googling and doing little bits here and there. If I'd have just had this supportive container, who knows, maybe I would have wasted less money, less energy, less time. But yeah, so yeah, you can reach out to me on my email, hello@cassieaurora.com. If you email me and I don't get back to you, it could have gone to my junk. I don't check it too much. So you can also go onto my Instagram and book a consultation with me there directly. So like, we can just chat about, actually, do you think Fertility Best Friend is right for you? So my Instagram handle is @flourishwithcassie. So Flourish with Cassie. Or you can email me, hello@cassieaurora.com. Yeah, there's a discrepancy there in the website name. We're going through a whole transition. My web designer is one of my friends, so we've kind of been a bit lax on it. So Instagram is an amazing place where I have loads and loads of content at the moment, whilst we're transitioning my website from, astrology teaching and the abundance work that I used to do. So, which I still do, but we don't talk about that. So anyway, let's get into it. So, where do we begin? I actually made a little list on my phone, which is where I record these. Let's get up the list. Oh, okay. So I think one of the things that when it comes to the fertility journey is this. Well, there's lots of things, but the one that really kicks in for a lot of people is this thing of comparison. All of a sudden your focus in life shifts from, like maybe career, or not all of a sudden, but usually, once you get on the fertility journey, it becomes this whole thing about goals. You're going to that end of the month. There's a 2-week wait for many people, and then it becomes this thing where it's just all you can think about. And you're Googling, signs of pregnancy. You're questioning, was your PMS, pregnancy, or is it just a period? And then you're doing pregnancy tests and you're like, is this a line? And it's like, no, there's no line. And then your period comes and, you know that month you didn't fall pregnant. And the problem therein lies, sometimes the feeling of failure, because I've actually gone on a tangent already, but it's kind of like, in homeopathy, we kind of actually treat this, there is a really great remedy for this idea of setting goals and then kind of failing at them and really struggling with that every month. It's like a grieving, it's a disappointment, it's hard. Like, it's not easy, because I know what it's like to be waiting to see if you've ovulated, for example. That was more for me, because my goal wasn't immediately pregnancy. My goal was fertility, but I would temperature track, which, if you're not temperature tracking, you definitely need to get temperature tracking. Definitely. We'll talk about that on another podcast. I cover it in Fertility Best Friend anyway. It's hard, because you start to think, well, what's wrong with my body? Why can't my body do this? And then the next thing you know, you go onto, I don't know, Facebook, or you get a message and it's like, so-and-so, we are fallen pregnant. We weren't sure whether to tell you, or some people just announce it and don't even tell you. And it's difficult because no one really knows how to talk about infertility. No one really knows how to be sensitive, I think, these days. Or when they dry, you still appreciate that they were kind and how they told you, but at the same time, you're still dealing with your own disappointment, and that can be really hard. And so the thing that I think is really important to anchor into, one of those kind of anchors or beliefs or those things to unpack around your own fertility, is the comparison. And I guess, comparison can be great. Comparison can be great when it's someone who's been where we are and we're like, wow, they have healed, and I know that gives me faith that I can do it. But comparison when it's like, okay, my sister-in-law is pregnant and I'm not, and I feel shit about this. Of course, you can feel crap about it. This is fine. Like, this is a normal reaction. And as you go through homeopathic treatment, we kind of add in remedies that help you to cope with this that does happen whilst you're on the fertility journey, to really kind of soften the blow so you're able to deal with that better. But as the homeopathy is kind of sinking in, I notice a lot of clients at the beginning are like, I've started treatment, I've done IVF or whatever you've began, and you're comparing like 4 weeks in, even years in, if you haven't had homeopathic treatment and you're years into your fertility journey, you are probably still going through that level of disappointment. And there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you. You are entitled to feel that way. And at the same time, comparison really doesn't tell you anything about the best of you. And comparison really kind of looks at the race everyone else is running, but it completely discounts your own circumstances, your own history, your own past, your own trauma, your own health potential. And in that, there becomes a rejection of what is. And when we reject what is, we're in complete resistance to life. We're in complete resistance to what's going on, and we're allowed to be in resistance. However, when we are in that state of resistance, we add so much more stress to our system. So even though you can feel comparison, at the same time, you can also hold hope. And I think this is really important, because when we're in this moment of comparison, it's like, hang on a minute, I am different, and my moment will come too, just as their moment can come. There's this saying, imagine if you watch this film 7 years in Tibet, if you've watched it, it's intense. But she says, a friend's joy is our blessing. And that's a really nice thing to kind of just hold. And in your heart, you are happy for other people, this. But because you hold all of your own fear, your sadness, it's just everything that comes with fertility, the hope, the devastation, the worry that there's something wrong, because you hold that within you, of course, you're not going to always feel the joy. And you're going to jump automatically to what is wrong with me, because we're kind of taught to believe that, there's something wrong with us. Fundamentally, that deep-rooted shame, it's in us all. Something is wrong with me, through parenting or whatever, I don't know. But it's intrinsic in society. If you're not XYZ, then there is something wrong with you. And so fertility journeys become a journey of acceptance of what is, and that is not always easy, because for about 2% of people, it really is that they may never naturally fall pregnant. But for most people, and probably for you, especially if you're kind of already doing the things, it's so possible for you. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe for those 2% of people, but I just feel like if someone's got no ovaries or eggs, I'm like, maybe it's not going to happen. But if you've got ovaries, if you've got eggs, if they're there, there's a way that you can probably fall pregnant. So I'm digressing now. If that fills you with fear, it's not meant to. It's just meant to remind you that it's very, very likely that you will fall pregnant. Very likely. And comparing yourself really isn't going to help you to feel at peace with where you are in your journey, because your day will come. And I guess I just want to remind you that whilst comparison is normal, it literally tells you nothing about yourself. And you don't know like what that person has been through. I mean, sometimes it is a case of, you look at people, they eat crap, they like just have no level of health consciousness, I guess, and yet easily fall pregnant, healthy babies. And in a way, that can be like, what the hell? That is so unfair. And at the same time, that's their individual body. Like, that's just their look. And, you know, we don't know what goes on for everyone, but I'm sure everyone has their own demons, you know, and it's not easy. So I guess I'm not here to give you a solution to comparison. I'm here to tell you it's normal, but it's kind of like, ask yourself, what is this really giving me? Is it telling me anything about myself? And if it's only telling you something wrong with your body or filling you with paranoia, then it's clearly useless, because the truth isn't that there's something wrong with you, but it's a story you're going to tell yourself, probably when you compare. So when that story comes up, maybe just think of a different mantra that, you know, my body wants to fall pregnant, you know. So I don't know, it's just a thought you might find helpful. So okay, maybe, I mean, let's jump onto a different thing that I think consumes a lot of women, especially like beyond the age of, I don't know, 35. They get this fear that time is running out. And to be honest, I think this is like a mainstream narrative that women over the age of like 37 are like old geriatric pregnancies, which is what they call them, which is like so messed up. As far as I'm concerned, if you're having a period and they're like regular periods, you know, as in they're not tailoring off to menopause, then you are fertile. This whole thing about your eggs being bad quality is, to be honest, just another kind of thing that's made out to be truth, and it's not absolute truth. You can affect the quality of your eggs and you can have a healthy pregnancy. Time isn't running out, in the sense that, you know, I've had clients that have literally conceived twins at the age of like 47, like, and I know my peers have people beyond that age, like 50, conceiving. And, you know, whatever your thoughts about that are, fine, but the point is, you can't argue that time is running out, because I know very, very healthy women having babies at that age. So my feeling about this is, time isn't running out. You have time, and when you start to honour time, time will honour you, which just sounds mad, but it's really true. Think about the days when you're like, shit, I've got no time, I'm going to be late. You're usually late. And then there's days when you're just like, oh, well, I'll make it when I make it, and all of a sudden it's fine. Like, you literally make it with a good time. So no, like my feeling about that is, time is running out is not a great thought, but it's there, and I think we all have it grained into us in society now, just on every level, just, you know, just with everything, time is running out because everything's so rushed. So I guess, I mean, I feel like it's maybe just reframing that thought to be like, actually, there is time. And the fact that I have time, I have time to heal, have time to fall pregnant, you know, and I firmly believe that you wouldn't feel the urge to want children, or you wouldn't feel the urge to fall pregnant unless you physically could. Does that make sense? Like, you know, I've had a lady reach out, pardon me, about fertility best friend, and I think she's like 45 or something. She has this undescribable urge now to fall pregnant. And you wouldn't feel that urge unless it was something in you that knew it could. It's a very primal thing. You don't, that's not saying you're not probably listening to this if you're not interested in fertility, so fine. But if you don't feel that, it's like you don't feel it. But if you do, it's meant for you. I'm a big believer in that. And, with children, there's nothing logical about it. It's a heart yearning. And, sometimes the reasons for having them are not always the best, but you're probably not going to be in that camp if you're listening to this, because it's like a different level of thinking. So you have time, and I know it feels like you don't, but the truth is that you probably do, because if you have 5 years, that's at least 58 more periods or something. Even 5 years, and you'd have to be 45. If it just depends when menopause hits, but average age is 53 or something. I think I've just made that up. Should probably look it up. Okay, so now I want to talk about patience. And here's me sitting here going, oh, you need to have patience, when some of you might have been on your fertility journey for years and years and years. So with a pinch of salt, when it comes to treatment, medical IVF type treatment, this is not healing your body. So it's not really fixing or healing your ability to fall pregnant naturally. So my feeling about it is, if you're thinking nothing's getting better, I'm not getting better, and you've had years of IVF, for example, it's because IVF isn't a healing treatment. It's a means to an end. So, when it comes to falling pregnant naturally, we're talking heavy metal detox therapy, we're talking birth control detox, we're talking looking at your whole life history and all the factors that have contributed to your ill hormonal health, or maybe your autoimmune pathology, your diseases, so your PCOS, your endo, all the things that have contributed to that. In homeopathic treatment, we start to gently, very gently, but still effectively cure things one by one. Some things are going to be more stubborn. It still doesn't mean you won't be able to fall pregnant. It just means that things take time. And people after 3 months of treatment are like, well, it's not happening, I feel like giving up. It's it's been 3 months. Your body, on average, from now, so what you're doing now is going to affect your eggs in 4 months' time. Well, take 4.5 months. Some people say 3, some people say 4.5 months. I'd say definitely 3 months minimum. What you're doing now affects then. So this month for me, I am actually not sure I'm going to ovulate. I had a crazy September. I started working out more vigorously. So it's very much an experiment. Can my body do this? How much can my body tolerate? I felt great. I felt amazing. But then I got a tummy bug. And so now my ovulation is reflecting then. So I'm actually not seeing many great fertile signs, because that ovulation, I was incapacitated in bed with a stomach bug for 48 hours, but it affected my eating for a while and it affected my nourishment for a while. So it's just to say we have to understand that everything we are doing now is 3 months' time, and then how healthy we are in 3 months' time is mirroring 3 months beyond that. This is why Fertility Best Friend is 6 months. That's a minimum. Really, you will fall pregnant. Usually most people will fall pregnant by the end of 6 months, but it's not always. That's a minimum. Because what we're doing is not putting a plaster or a band-aid on the state of your body. We're not putting plasters or band-aids on it. We're healing from a root level to enable your body to actually sustain the pregnancy, to thrive in pregnancy, and it's not to say there's a problem with IVF. I completely understand that decision. I have many clients that do both. Fine, do both. But at the same time, my feeling around things is, if we can do both, why wouldn't we try and work on the root cause of infertility? Because the longer that your hormones are in a mess, the more difficult it will be when you hit menopause. And of course, there are things like endo and PCOS, and there are lots of pathologies where people will get offended when I kind of say you can feel better and you can heal. The thing is, like, healing to me is not about suddenly you're going to be in perfect health. It does happen for people. I know people that cysts have shrunk, through treatment. Is a lot of things that I know also haven't changed. But I think your body has its own capacity to get to a better place than it is now, often for most people. And it's really about fulfilling your fullest potential. Like, we don't have to go mad for healing at the expense of rejecting what is about our body, and actually that something is okay and we can still thrive through life with a certain condition. But it's not to say that we have to live with something when there is a possibility that it can go away. I know many, many, many women who have reversed PCOS. I know many of my peers who I share clients with, nutritional therapists, who actually have endo, and you would not know. They don't have symptoms really. They've had some scar tissue removed, but for the large part, they're fine. They have no real symptoms. They have a healthy period. They don't have pain. So it's not to say that everyone can achieve that, but I think it's possible, and I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. I can't remember what I was actually even on. So it's all come down to patience and willingness. Like, I don't think it's delusional to believe that your body can heal, because I believe that we're biodynamic. Not biodynamic. Maybe we're biodynamic. No, we're just dynamic individuals, and I believe that miracles do happen because I have seen it. So you can take or leave that, but I've seen amazing things. What can be achieved with supplementation, nutrition, mindset, homeopathy. I think I'm partially a testament to that. I was really sick with like serious thyroid autoimmune and just generally inflamed. Just felt like, oh God, no periods, or generally just not great. Felt like crap every single day. Pain, you name it. Yeah. Nothing that a doctor could ever diagnose, and there was just no point in me even trying. But homeopathy was the thing that really saved me. Nutrition got me quite far, and supplements, but it was homeopathy that really saved me. So anyway, so I guess patience is a thing. We need to know that things maybe will take time, and we have to make peace with that, I think. Okay, so I think a big part of fertility is about doing less and not more. For example, sometimes the intensity at which we go at our supplementation and we go at our perfect eating goes to the point of being really in a stressed alpha state. There are remedies we give for this anyway, but my feeling is most women need to do less. They just need to do less. They need to just lie down, eat some, chocolate, have a cup of tea, and just relax and just move gently and just flow. And that's easier said than done. We all have our moments, but I just feel like there is no emphasis on actually being in that calm, less stressed state. Everyone's working, everyone's grafting, everyone's studying. It's like, okay, we can do those things, and we can also be totally relaxed too, because if we don't take that time to do nothing, to just do less, to just be, to realise we don't have to get anywhere, we just have to allow the healing to happen and do just the right things piece by piece, we'd probably get further in less time, I think. That was a big thing for me in my journey, was to just stop doing like just stop, just chill, take a chill pill. So I don't know, like you might just be there like, what are you on about? I have all this stuff to do. I'm like, okay, well, what do you not have to do? What can wait? I mean, I think it's going to air around, this podcast is airing pretty much before Christmas, so I feel like you all need to chill and eat some snacks over Christmas. That's not to say abuse your body and go mad. That's a different thing. But there's a nourishment in calming. And that leads me onto it's the same thing, but nourishment. When you nourish yourself energetically, it says that there is enough. There is not scarcity. And when you're not in a space of scarcity, your body knows with certainty that it has everything it needs to grow and nourish a baby. Like, your body's not going to get pregnant if you're in a space of scarcity, whether that's financial scarcity, which is another topic and something close to my heart because I definitely come from that background and I can very easily fall into worry around money, especially, this whole messaging that there's a cost of living crisis. I don't dispute it. I just think the media love to inflate everything. So I just feel like we all can really nourish ourselves and, just simple things like, we tried to shop at Aldi one week and like the quality was absolutely rubbish. And we were like, geez, like some of the things are great, like cupboard stuff, but fruit and veg, we were like, why are we doing this all in the name of saving like £30? Like, just what? And so then we ended up just going, look, we're just going to still buy our nice veg box and nourish our bodies, and we feel great for it. And it's the only the thing we don't compromise on is the quality of filling our bodies with what is good for us, because you can't expect your body to thrive when you're trying to just what's the word, like just using up all your resources. So using up mental resources, using up physical resources, exercising too much, not really filling up your resources. This is a big mistake we make because we're so concerned with like trying to be smaller and trying to be better and trying to achieve. And it's like, what if you were just like, normal? Like, is there anything wrong with just being like normal? Like, I'm not saying you're normal, like that you're average or unspecial, but like I would say I'm very normal. Like, I'm a normal person. I eat normal food. Like, I try, the only supplement I have is magnesium and beef liver, because I can't stomach it, otherwise I would just eat beef liver. Like, I exercise a normal amount, I work a normal amount, I watch a normal amount of TV, like just very normal. I probably watch it way less than normal actually. But the point I'm making is, nourishing and being, not having to be a hero or a fitness freak or like the best is okay. Like, you can still be amazing and be fine, and that's perfect, because to me imperfection's a myth, because it's the whole thing. Anyway, I mean, you might not agree with what I'm saying. I'm quite dumb sometimes when it comes to like these whole topics, but all I know is what I've experienced and what I see in clinic. And most of my clients just really need to be so much kinder to themselves and have a permission to slip, to be like, just nourish yourself. Write down 5 things that you find really nourishing and do them. Whether that's mirror work, whether that's breath work, whether that's yoga, whether that's eating cake or having a bath. Sometimes self-care isn't those things, Sometimes nourishing yourself isn't those things, and nourishing yourself is actually trying to work on your trauma. It looks different depending. So, So, abundant and nourished. Kind of like, think about the energy of summer and spring. That's a fertile energy. So maybe tap into how that would look for you on a real world level. Cute. I think for most of you listening, it's really about softening and knowing that this journey isn't one of infertility, it's one of fertility. You are coming into fertility. There is nothing wrong with you. You are coming into fertility, and you are stepping closer and closer every single day to falling pregnant. Every day. So slowly, you're getting there. And try not to, give yourself that messaging that you are barren or, infertile, because that is not true. The truth is you are getting more and more fertile every single day. With every little action you do, you're moving closer. Even if you feel like you're moving away, it's probably because layers of something that's blocking you are crumbling down in front of you, and that's all you can see because it's crumbling down. But then behind that wall, it's clearer, and you're like, oh, I'm closer now. So kind of think of it like bashing down walls to get to a golden treasure chest behind like 100 walls. And obviously bashing down the wall is a hideous mess. You're like, oh my God, this is a mess. There's rubble everywhere. But once you clear the rubble away, you're like, I'm one wall closer. It doesn't look so bad now. So that's not the best analogy, it's probably a better one. But I find the peeling an onion one like not great, because it just makes me think of like crying and, peeling an onion's hardly the most rewarding. It's generally an absolute ball ache, so I just buy the frozen diced ones. I don't know, it's probably not the healthiest thing, but c'est la vie. You've got this. And if you're thinking, 2023 is my year, I'm going all in, and you really want to just go all in, then my fertility best friend is for you. 100%. So reach out to me, make sure you grab one of those 3 spots, because there's only 3. I might open up some more as spring comes, but I can't be sure, because I get married then and it's just intense. So honestly, I am here for you if you want to reach out about fertility best friend, and I am sending you all the good vibes. Take care and be kind to yourself. You're doing the best that you can.